You're listening to Shoe In, covering the ins and outs of all things footwear, from sneakers to heels, loafers to slippers, and every type of shoe in between. Brought to you by the FDRA, the Footwear Industries Association focused on retail, trade, politics, and fashion, helping create and enhance conversations on all things footwear. And now your footwear insiders, Matt Priest and Andy Polk.
Matt, how's it going, buddy?
Andy, man, I'm doing as best as I can, living here in the basement of my home and working digitally and having countless hours of Zoom calls. How are you?
I'm good. I just feel bad for you. You haven't seen my beautiful face in many, many weeks, and I know that it's a hard thing to go through in life.
I'm an Andy Polk withdrawal for sure. So I've been dreaming about the day that we, as brothers, we can hug as we see each other for the first time again, and I think that might be 2021, but maybe we'll have to see.
With masks on. Jasmine, how are you doing?
Doing great. Still, my sentiments are kind of like Matt, doing the best I can with the number of things that we're doing. We're still keeping very busy, so still have enough to push me from day to day, but just trying to keep afloat.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It is strange times. We're all facing strange times. But our industry as a whole is facing, I feel like, Matt, I feel like 2019, I feel like the industry started to figure out its footing with digital a little bit and getting better at some of their warehousing and some of their models. And they were starting to really hit their stride. And then all of a sudden, this kind of has just knocked the wind out of our industry. It's knocked the wind out of our models. I feel like, even a year ago, we were talking about what once would be like several year planning became 1 year planning. And now we're looking at almost 3 or 1 month planning cycles, right? Everything's changing so quickly. And that has a dramatic impact on our workforce. And unfortunately, it looks like there's going to be a trimming back. There's a lot of need for our workers. Just a tough time right now.
Yeah, it is a tough time, Andy. It's a great way to put it. And it's a historically tough time. And I think our next guest is going to help shed some light on just how historic this is, what the thing that we're going through. And the fact that when we get our weekly sales surveys that are available to FDRA members and seeing, a decline of 99% in sales in brick and mortar this week versus same week last year it's a gut punch, as we've talked about. And we're seeing that week after week after week. And so our next guest is Shawn Osborne, who's the president and CEO of the Ten Footwear Foundation, based out of Waltham in Massachusetts. It's an organization that's been in existence for 75 plus years. Shawn is new to the job, and I've gotten to know Shawn as we communicate regularly over the past few months, and have been super impressed by the way in which he's approached his new job in unprecedented times. I have a heart for him because I started FDRA 11 years ago during the financial crisis, and this is worse. And he's been just doing the Lord's work, if you will, helping to hand out checks to people in need. So with that, I want to extend a warm welcome to Shawn Osborne, the new head of 210. Welcome to the program, Shawn.
Thanks, Matt and Andy and Team FDRA. Everybody's been really great. Like you said, this is kind of an unprecedented time for, this industry, all industries. And, 10 weeks on the job, I can say I had about 2 weeks of FaceTime with the employees and some of the board members, and the rest of the time it's been virtual over Zoom. But, we're really stepping up and holding true to the mission and the legacy of this great organization, and been helping a lot of people.
So let's cut to it, Shawn. You are helping a lot of people in unprecedented numbers. So why don't you kind of give our listeners a flavor of the types of numbers that you're seeing and just what you all are doing in the face of this crisis?
Yeah, on any given day, we would average, maybe, 10 applications, for, financial relief due to, crisis or, a personal hardship. And today I'll tell you that we're averaging about 100 a day. And so, And just in the last 45 days, just to give you an example, we've had, a surge of applications. It's kind of leveled off, but, we've probably received about 4,300 applications in the last 45 days, and we'll just have distributed just about $1 million to the people most in need in the footwear industry.
And for those people who don't know 210, you go to 210.org for folks to access the resources available. But for those who don't know what 210 does or the types of checks and services that you provide, what's like the elevator speech so people understand what you are providing right now during the crisis?
Yeah, you said 75. It's actually a little over 80 years that this great organization has been in existence. We were literally launched by a group of footwear leather workers in Boston, which is the birthplace of the shoe industry. The tradition that was back, in 1939 during the Depression, the tradition was the proverbial pass the hat to help fellow colleagues who had fallen or on hard times and needed the most help. And so that very tradition, that mission that I mentioned earlier, holding true to that, today we directly help our footwear colleagues across the country during hardship, loss, or distress. So, what begins with a simple gesture of kindness to a fellow footwear worker 8 decades ago has become a lifeline to more than, 300,000 employees in the footwear industry. So, through economic downturns, wars, industry setbacks, company closures, layoffs, natural disasters, and now this pandemic, 210 has, been on the front line of the footwear community and brought hope to tens of thousands of our colleagues.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. And for those of us who attended the gala in the past and have seen the work that you all have done, you never kind of think about something this globally traumatic happening where you're going to have to step up and serve probably a portion of our industry that we're not used to seeing claims come in for, just because there's so much furloughing going on and so much uncertainty. And when revenue grinds to a halt to a company, there really are no other choices but to furlough and figure out ways to cut back until the stores open up. And so I have to imagine that as you talk to the 210 board, which is the who's who of the industry, there's just a lot of there's a strong desire to dip as deep as you can into the coffers of 210 to push out as much money as you can. Am I right about that?
Yeah, no, absolutely, Matt. On an annual basis, just for, hardship relief, we'll give out, about $2 million. We just allocated an additional $3 million on top of that, to deal with what I'll call the first phase of the crisis, to make sure that our colleagues have, food on the table and a roof over their head. But you and I talked about this the other day. We want to also be there for the ripple effect of this pandemic. We talk about, utility companies that are deferring payments, or mortgage companies, or, automotive businesses that will allow you to defer the payments for 3 months. But that only means that, 3 months from now, they're going to be hit with these large bills. And so another tradition of the organization is to be there for them in the second phase, let's say, of a situation like this. And so, the board, the board is always, it's an amazing board. Like you said, it's the who's who in the industry. We had a call just yesterday with the executive committee, but the question is always, how can we do more? And, so, it's always about raising more money so that we can do more, for the employees that, have been affected in particular by this pandemic. And so, we're out raising money, and we're out every day that, figuring out ways that we can make sure that we are there for them, both, let's call it in the first phase of a situation like this pandemic that we've never seen before, and obviously the ripple effect in the second phase as well. So, it just shows you how much this industry cares, how close-knit it is, and how we work together to make sure that, we can do everything we can to make sure that everyone gets the financial relief that they need to come out of this as best they can.
So I went to 2ten.org. So it's TWOTEN.org. So it's not the numbers, you spell it out. 2ten.org. First thing that pops up is, which I think is brilliant, is a visual of someone washing their hands. And then right on there is a Get Help Now button. So Shawn, as people go to this and they hit the button and it's Get Help Now, what's the process? Do they fill out an application for support, tell their story? And then on the back end, what's the process like now? Obviously, in the past, it would be probably much more meticulous in looking at things. And now, as there's so many people in need, how are you guys processing these applications to turn it out a lot quicker?
Yeah, I came from the technology industry for, over 30 years. And sometimes you come into these organizations and they don't have the infrastructure in place to support a situation like this. I was really impressed with what 2ten had in place, and all of our applications, Andy, almost entirely come online. There are a few exceptions where the people we serve might not have a computer or internet access, and we will do the application over the phone. But I will tell you the vast majority are done online. And we've been trying to streamline the process, never waste a good crisis. We've been trying to figure out ways that we can get better and better at this. And so we've kind of been, enhancing the forms to make it more intuitive. So when you click on that button, Andy, it will take you to a form eventually, and we try to make it very easy for what we call the client to fill that form out. We have put in an automated scheduling system so that you can get to an intake specialist, someone who will spend time with you on the phone, going over your needs. We not only provide financial relief, but we also provide some counseling and references. I saw a thing the other day where we've guided some people to food banks in local areas. So we'll provide some recommendations on a local and national basis where they can get additional assistance in situations where we can work really closely with some of our partners. We can expedite the process even without a phone call. We've done a pretty good job of, we had the infrastructure in place to be able to send all of our social services team home so that they were safe through the pandemic, but could continue to do their job. And we tried to streamline the process for our clients so that we could, like I said, in the last 45 days for a small organization to be able to process thousands and thousands of applications and distribute, $1 million is pretty amazing. So that's where that button will take you. And we got a lot of people going there. And I, for the most part, I think, we've stood up to the challenge. We do have a slight backlog right now, but we've got a team of volunteers that, sometimes just a warm and friendly voice on the other end of the phone that have been calling up and saying, listen, the typical 2-day turnaround could be 7 to 10 days, but I want you to know we're here and we're going to be there for you. And so we've never used volunteers like that in the past, but, we were able to recruit some volunteers and everybody's kind of chipped in. And I think for the most part, I'd say that we're getting the job done. And, nobody expected anything of this magnitude. Typically when we have something like this, a natural disaster, a hurricane or a fire, it's very regional and very, we can target, our services. We've received applications from all 50 states and, it's been quite a challenge, but the team's done a great job.
So Shawn, you mentioned that you've come from the tech industry, and I've read your spread in Footwear News, and you clearly have a vision for the organization, and for most those of us who come into new organizations and are tasked with leading them, there's some time when you're getting to know people and personalities, and let's, if we set aside the pandemic right now just for a moment, if we can. Talk about kind of what your vision is for the organization going forward, and then compare and contrast some of the ways in which the industry is different than what your experience has been in technology. I think you and I have talked many a times about just the close-knit nature of the footwear industry and the way it collaborates and works together. And so I just, it's always great to have fresh eyes, and you've been a breath of fresh air and conversating with you because you're not embedded in the footwear industry until now. So walk us through kind of what your vision is and how things look differently on the inside of the footwear industry than they do elsewhere.
Yeah, well, nothing like putting a lot of pressure on the new guy, Matt. I thought we were friends. I think like any organization, 210 over the years has, really focused on the workforce and how we can help the workforce. We've had programs that, address diversity and inclusion, mentoring. We have a scholarship program. I think really focused on the workforce. I think what this situation has done is it's highlighted the very core of what we were all about, this crisis and hardship relief. And so I would say to you that, it's really the strategy behind that and elevating the good work that we do around that has been, I think very good for the organization. And so, I will tell you right now that, we put a lot of things on hold that we were doing in the past, and we really focused on how to be the very best at, providing a safety blanket, so to speak, for the industry in these times. And I think that there's a lot of opportunities. I mentioned, counseling and financial wellness and health that we provide that I think we could amplify in the future. And so I think building a strategy, kind of going back to core and building a strategy around how we can theoretically, like the board says, do more with our relief fund is probably the direction we're going to head in the next couple of years. It's not to say we're going to abandon the other things we're doing, but I think that, this crisis has elevated the importance of what we do with the HR departments in the footwear industry and the executives and the staff. And I think that the opportunity to work more closely with them to amplify that work and build a strategy around that work is like we've never seen before. So kind of going back to core and building off that core, I think is a great opportunity for this organization right now. Again, not abandoning some of the other great things that we've done in the past, but I think this is giving us that opportunity, and I think we're going to capitalize on it.
Yeah, I mean, I can say for us, there's nothing like a crisis to really get you to critically think about your core business, your core strengths, and then shed those things you might have been focused on because you just, because the times call for it, right? And so I can really appreciate your desire to get back to basics and make sure that you're doing everything you can to support the industry using the strengths that you have for, as you rightfully corrected me, for over 80 years. And so I want to congratulate you on that and appreciate the partnership. Now is where we're going to have a little fun because Jasmine's here and she has a world famous segment we call What You Got, What You Gettin'. And so with that, Jasmine, why don't you come on in the program, explain to Shawn how this works, and then we'll walk our way through it.
Okay, so Shawn, since this is your first time, what you're getting is we explain what we have on our feet right now and what we're planning to get in the future. So right now I have 0 footwear on, and I have changed my footwear from earlier this morning to now, but I do plan on getting and investing into some more slippers. I thought I had a good arsenal of slippers, but during this time I think I can afford to have a little bit more. So what about yourself, Shawn? What shoes do you have for now, and what are you planning to buy in the near future?
All right, so I'm a diehard Cole Haan guy. Mm-hmm. So I've got a pair of Cole Haan loafers on right now. I do live in New England, and I would argue that that's probably, if I'm going to buy another pair of shoes, that will probably be the next pair of shoes that I'll buy with Cole Haan.
Well, that's easy.
Yeah, you have a brand, you love it, find them.
I'm not sure if I played the game correctly, but when I get fixated on one particular brand and I'm comfortable, that's the kind of I'm very loyal.
I'm the same way, honestly, Shawn, and my wife makes fun of me, but I'll buy one pair, and if I like them, I'll buy 2 more and just keep them stocked in my closet. So I'm
exactly. I get the black, I get the cordovan, I get the brown, and I'm all set.
You're more stylish than me then, because I get the same colors, same style, and then my wife just rolls her eyes at me, and it's 10 times worse right now because she can't get away from me. No, exactly. So, it makes it simple in the morning, doesn't it? Exactly does. That's exactly there. Yeah, exactly. There's not many, So, the sad thing though is because the loyalty hurts down the road when the shoes discontinued. So right now I'm having a problem finding. Like a year and a half ago, I bought these Adidas Boosts, and now I can't find the same exact style because it. I have like bunions, so I like the extension of the shoe I have. And now it's like tight, skinny runner shoes all of a sudden, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? So I have a real conundrum right now on what you got, what you get, and I'm glad Jasmine brought it up so that my anxiety could increase tenfold.
No, it does make it simple. The kids do laugh that I still wear the tassels occasionally, and I keep saying they'll eventually come back in if you wear them long enough, right? Everything just eventually cycles and comes back in. So I might not be cool today, but I'm guaranteed to be cool tomorrow.
That's for sure. That is for sure.
Well, Matt usually wears like a nickel loafer, but now in these times he's back to a penny loafer, right, Matt?
That's right, man. That is right. But I will say this. I'm currently wearing some RG Berry slippers. I have 3 pair of slippers and Deer Foams, I should say, owned by RG Berry. And I've been wearing a lot more slippers lately. And I have my eye on Nike Blazer mids. They're from 1977, which is my birth year. And they now you can do you can design your own. So you can take a classic iconic shoe from the 70s from a classic brand such as Nike, and you can freaking design. You can make the swoosh whatever color you want, the outsole, the midsole, whatever you want. And so I've got my eye. I need a little customization. I'm a little different than Andy and Shawn. I do need some flair, and so I think that's what I'm going to do next.
I definitely have to up my footwear game now that I'm in this industry, but with the pandemic, it hasn't been a focus, but I will get around to it. And probably, Matt, you can help me with that.
I would love to. I would love to help you with that with Shawn. Go ahead, Andy.
Yeah, folks, has been Shoe and Show, the Footwear Industries podcast. You just heard a great interview with the new leader of the 210 Foundation. We encourage you to go to 210.org. You can Google it. You can just type it in, TWOTEN.org. Right at the front, when you land there, up pops a page where you can apply for assistance if you are in need. We are thinking about those in need. FDRA also has a resource center on our website, FDRA.org. We've opened up some of our member-only products in order to help anyone who's furloughed or anyone who may be looking for work now keep skilled up around the footwear industry. So we're trying to help as well, but we want to support our partners like 210 who are out there actively giving money, funds, assistance, support, guidance to those in need. It's a trying time in our industry. Also want to encourage, if anyone is out there and is financially stable and wishes to contribute to those in need, again, go to 210.org. You can contribute on that page at the top right. There is a donate button. It is quite clear. And please give to those in need in our industry. Our industry is unique in its impact and its giving and its collaboration. Shawn, we want to thank you for coming on today and sharing exactly what you guys are doing. We're thinking about you guys and praying for your staff during this time as they have a heavy workload, but are doing a wonderful job. They're doing the Lord's work. So, folks, again, 210.org. Visit that either to donate or apply for assistance. And again, we are thinking about those in need. For all those on Team FDRA and Team 210, we have been working together for many years, but never more so during this time of need, and we'll continue to do so to strengthen our industry. And so on behalf of that, Shoe In Show is out.
Shoe In has been brought to you by the FDRA, the Footwear Industries Association focused on retail, trade, politics, and fashion, helping create and enhance conversations on all things footwear. For information about FDRA, visit fdra.org.